Hello there, Macarp here, as usual. And a more specific hello to any husbands of Celtic pagans that own a witchy Twitch channel, love Kiki's delivery service, and are leaders on Pagans and Witches Amno, who have names that very well may be Paul. Not sure if that's right, but I think Lorthmore may have been messing with me. Anyway, more on that later. Despite the silly opening, this will be more of a somewhat serious video. It's nothing extremely deep, but it is a slight problem I see in the pagan and witch community. Keep in mind that this is more of an opinion, and by no means is this video meant to offend anyone. However, I am completely open to friendly debate in the comments. I'm a bit of a hermit, and I tend to spend a lot of my time on the internet. As well being a preferred solitary practitioner, the only friends I have who are experienced witches and pagans are on the internet, and is my biggest source of information on the matter. It goes without saying, then, that a lot of that time on the internet is devoted to researching witchcraft or paganism and chatting with fellow practitioners I feel comfortable around. B&W mod team. Sorry about that. However, in my internet adventures, there are times I'll come across a website that treats paganism or witchcraft in a way I believe should be avoided. Everyone's craft is their own, and I completely support that, but sometimes it seems that people will get into the craft simply for political reasons. Now, before anyone freaks out on me, let me explain a bit. I hope that every pagan or witch watching this video agrees that witchcraft and paganism are spiritual and or religious practices. We practice them for varying reasons, but for the most part we feel drawn to the beliefs. They make us comfortable or fulfill a niche in our lives that no other religion can fulfill. If you're like me, it could be something that acts as sort of a power statement, confidence booster, that makes you feel like you have more control over your life. There are a lot of reasons that you may be drawn to paganism or witchcraft, and there's as many as how many practitioners there are. But sometimes I do feel that there are some wrong reasons to get into it, and one of those is because of political purposes. There's a lot going on in politics today, and it can get hairy quite quickly. It gets to the point there's a lot of exceptions with rules, and sometimes groups and parties will go to extreme lengths to get their points and messages across, even to the point they will make themselves look to be the victim of the opposing party. There are times that this is actually true and more than acceptable. For example, movements against sexual harassment that have brave rape victims stand up, give speeches, and act as the face of their causes are perfect examples of when this is okay. Sometimes, though, there are things that are made to appear as victims that aren't actually victims or are simply inappropriate to use for the matter. One of these is when witchcraft or paganism is used in this light. Pagans and witches are easy to make look like victims, and one can argue that we are sometimes. We're a relatively small religious and spiritual minority compared to the rest of the world, and are quite easily looked at as weird or crazy. Sometimes people who have been taught wrong things about our beliefs will assume that we're part of some murderous, human-sacrificing cult, or something along those lines. I've seen some horror stories of pagan families who have been harassed by neighbors for their beliefs and have actually had a conversation with one who had an FBI raid on his home after his neighbors contacted police saying he was about to sacrifice someone. There's a lot of stigma around witchcraft and paganism already. This can attract people who aren't interested in the beliefs themselves and actually just want to use it as a way to support themselves in political arguments and debates. I've read through some comment threads that go on and on politically, and then someone briefly mentions the Christian God that has no real effect on the discussion, and the other party will pull the I'm a pagan card and start accusing the person they're arguing with of being anti-pagan in an attempt to make them look bad. I'm not saying that anti-paganism movements don't exist, because they certainly do. I've dealt with quote-unquote crusaders on Pagan and Witches Amno, which I help lead, on a number of occasions. When these come up, we do need to defend ourselves against them. However, when you're having a political debate and start blaming the person of being anti-paganism, and try to defame their image that way, it isn't okay unless they're actually attacking you about your beliefs. A fairly decent percentage of people don't even know what paganism is, and it wouldn't help your argument apart from confusing a portion of the audience and turning it into a religious firefight, which we know never ends with either side winning. What I'm trying to say here is don't pull your religious or spiritual beliefs into the fray of something political unless they're actually attacked by your opposition, and don't get into paganism and witchcraft simply to use it as a defense in those arguments. It isn't healthy and it doesn't give a good reputation to our practices. Another big thing I see with the pagan and witch community as a whole is the attraction of misinterests to the beliefs. It isn't as big of an issue as victimization, however, as someone who has been a target of misandry in the past, I do want to point this out here. I scrolled across some posts on the internet in the past, particularly on Tumblr, that claim to be from actively practicing pagans or witches, and they really aren't. When I scroll through the feeds of these profiles, they aren't about spirituality or religion at all. I look through, and all I see are posts about how males are inferior to females, or are horrible quote-unquote creatures. Some of these are worse than others, but some of the very horrible ones I've read range from enslaving the male sex to complete genocide of it. I don't understand how either are healthy to the survival of our species as a whole, but I digress. These people claim that they are pagans or witches and are feminist, but in reality that couldn't be further from the truth. Feminism is, as described by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the theory of political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. I'm proud to call myself a male feminist. I firmly believe that everyone, regardless of sex or race or religious beliefs, should be considered equal and treated equally. When you take a look at some of these supposedly feminist and supposedly pagan blogs, it couldn't be farther from the truth. Feminism is about the equality of the sexes, not misandry. As described by Merriam-Webster again, misandry is the hatred of men. This is what these websites get across, not feminist beliefs. Everyone is entitled to their own beliefs, and I understand that. I greatly disagree with misandry, but obviously some people do not, and I can respect that fact that everyone has different viewpoints. I can deal with websites that are anti-male. Unless, that is, they incorporate my religious and spiritual beliefs into them. I understand that witchcraft can draw in a lot of women due to the standard Western stereotype of a witch, a powerful female. Inherently, there is nothing wrong with this. It attracts a lot of people, both female and male, mind you, to the practice. Almost all of these are extremely nice and kind people. However, the idea of a powerful female sometimes attracts misandrists. A strong female is okay, and I totally support the idea. However, when that idea is turned around and used for misandry, I start to have some problems. For some reason, you read through these sites, and they just hide under this guise of being a witch and think it makes it okay to be anti-male and say all these horrific things. To be frank, it does not. It doesn't give a good view to what paganism and witchcraft is. If someone is trying to research it and came across one of these places as the first thing they see, their impression of paganism and witchcraft would not be good. It damages the reputation of our beliefs, and I personally don't think it's okay. Not only that, but it's just wrong to use religion as a guise to try and support your belief that all men should be enslaved. There's no morals there. Overall, what I'm trying to get across is that I believe witchcraft shouldn't be used simply for political means. It can bring bad reputations to it, which I feel we don't need any more of. Stigma still exists around paganism and witchcraft, and it can be difficult to explain away the negative pieces already. This doesn't mean that we should completely stay out of politics. A lot of issues exist that I feel pagans and witches should weigh in on as a religious group. However, we need to remember that we are a group of spiritual and religious folk, first and foremost. We all have our reasons for practicing paganism or witchcraft. However, if you're practicing only to justify your political beliefs and actions regarding them, this isn't the belief system for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter in the comments. Remember, this was only a piece on my opinions, and this wasn't meant to offend anyone. I do also want to give special thanks to my friend True Metalhead for giving me the idea to do this piece, as we had a discussion on it. I'd also like to mention that my good friend Kaye from over at Pagans and Witches Amino has recently started a new Twitch channel. She looks at video games such as Bloodborne and Dark Souls from a pagan and witch perspective. Her channel will be linked in the description, and I highly suggest you go check it out. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Wishing you a beautiful morning, evening, and night wherever you are. This has been Macabre. Till next time. Hey there, thanks for watching until the end. Before I go, I want to give some credit where it's due. This video and my entire channel would not have been possible without my amazing artist and even greater friend Oraa. Check out her Twitch below. If you like my content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my Twitter for more witchy miscellany. See you next time!